Hello, sixth graders. So today we are going to begin topic 1-4, and it's identifying parts of an expression. All right, so this right here, we have an expression listed, okay? And this expression has numbers, but it also has variables as well, which means that they stand for an unknown. All right, so there's some definitions we're going to go over today. And basically, it's all about identifying different parts of expressions. So the first example is called a term, or the first definition. And basically, a term is each part of an expression separated by a plus sign. Okay, that's what I mean. That's what I mean by that. A plus sign or a minus sign. Okay, so a term is a part of an expression that's separated by a plus or a minus. So for example, in this expression that we have right here, I'm going to circle the plus and minus signs. Okay, so basically terms are separated by those. So this is a term, this is a term, and that's a term. Okay, so our examples are 3q is a term, q over 4 is a term, and 4 times 5 is a term. So whatever is separated by plus and minus. So a big hint for this would to be circle any plus or minus signs you have, and anything that is separated by those is a term. Now, the next definition is a coefficient. And a coefficient is a number that is multiplied by a variable in an algebraic expression. All right, so basically what that means, a coefficient is just the number in front of the variable. So what I mean by that, we'll erase this, okay? Again, I'll read the definition. It's a number that is multiplied by a variable. So remember, we learned one way to show multiplication is for the variable and a number to be squished together. So you see that right here. 3 and q are squished together, okay? Stands for multiplication. And a coefficient is that number right here that's in front of the variable. So 3q is an example of a coefficient, this 3 right here, okay? If we had a number sentence that looked like this, 5t plus 7, this 5 right here is a coefficient, okay? So another example could be 5t with this 5 being a coefficient. So basically, it's just a number that is in front of the variable that shows that it's being multiplied with that variable. And the last definition, which we kind of went over yesterday, is a variable. And a variable is a letter or symbol of that represents an unknown quantity. So yesterday we discussed that usually we use x's as variables, but here you see that we also use a t, a q. We could use any type of letter or symbol, but we most commonly do use x's. So an example of a variable, we can rewrite these 3q and 5t, but instead of underlining the 3 and the 5, we'll underline the q and underline the t. So the variable is that letter or symbol. All right, so that's our first slide, just understanding and identifying parts of an expression. On the next slide, we're just going to practice identifying terms. So it says right here, how many terms does each expression have? So remember, it's helpful to identify first all the plus and minus signs because terms are separated by plus and minus signs. So if you circle the plus and minus signs, you count the terms that surround them. So with the red, I'm going to circle for this first one any plus or minus signs I have. And then whatever is surrounding it is a term. So 5 is a term and G is a term. So there are 2 total terms in that expression. The next one, I'm going to circle the plus or minus sign. So I have this plus sign, and that's it, because that dot stands for multiplication. So this is a term, and this is a term. So V over 3, or V divided by 3, and 2 times 5. So again, this one also has 2 terms. And then lastly, we're going to circle any plus or minus in the third one. It's right here, minus sign and a plus sign. So the terms are what are surrounding the plus and minus signs. So we have this, this, and this as terms. So there's 3 total terms, and we can write them as 16 2/10, 3 times 4, and 14 divided by 2. All right, so again, if you circle the plus and minus signs, anything that is around them is a term. So the plus and minus signs separate terms. And then lastly, we're just going to, again, practice with this expression, identifying parts of it. So which part of the expression represents the quotient? We talked about these phrases yesterday. Quotient stands for division. So the quotient is right here. So the quotient is 20 divided by 4. That part of the expression represents the quotient. The next part, it's product. And product, we learned, stands for multiplication. So product, again, a way to show multiplication is to have this number, and we just learned that this number that's in front of the variable is called a what? It's called a coefficient. So you can show multiplication when the coefficient and the variable are smushed together. So this term represents the product. The difference, okay, the difference stands for subtraction, all right? Now, this is a little different because I see the subtraction right here, all right? Now, whatever is being subtracted is actually this and this. So the whole subtraction is this whole entire thing, because you can't just say T and 20, because this whole thing goes together and this whole thing goes together. All right, so it's 5 3/10 T minus 20 divided by 4. That's the whole entire difference part of the expression. And then lastly, we have the sum. All right, so in this expression, the sum, remember, the sum stands for addition. So what is being added in this expression? We have 11, and we have that. This whole entire part of the expression, we're adding 20 divided by 4 plus 11. So it would be 20 divided by 4 plus 11. If it's in parentheses, you can't just pick the 4 or the 20. They have to stay together if it's in the parentheses together. All right? So today's topic really was just going over parts of an expression, and we went over a bunch of different vocabulary words like term, coefficient, and variable. And then we also reviewed some vocab words like quotient, product, difference, and sum. All right? So the Google form that's attached to this Ed puzzle is going to go over those vocabulary words a little bit more so you have a little bit more practice. Again, if you have any questions, please email me. All right? Enjoy the rest of your day.